Oh, that's wonderful.
Oh, man. So I'm not going to ask you too many questions before we go live because some of the best content is the content that happens just on like a side conversation. I want to make sure people get a chance to get all of that.
100%. That's how it goes.
But so I'm gonna kick it off. We'll just have like a general conversation.
Sure.
So this is the Millionaire Talk Show. My name is Charles Oglesby, also known as Todd Millionaire. Thank you guys all for tuning in. The purpose of this podcast is to share the stories of successful African-American business owners and investors so that people can hear the stories of successful examples because they exist. We want people to learn that business and investing are the true keys to financial success and generational wealth. With us today, we have Jay the Trader. He's actually a bond trader, which is cool to me because I've always been interested in that whole space. But to my knowledge, bonds don't move that much. So hopefully he can educate me and I can learn a new stream of income. Right. I'm familiar with the stock market. I'm familiar with options, of course. I was watching some of your content. You're saying that bond trading is actually easier than options trading. Yes. So we're going to dig into that. But first, we want to get to know a little bit more about you. So can you tell us who you are and where you're from?
How you doing, everybody? Thank you first and foremost, man. It's really good to hang out with you for a little while, Todd. Thank you. I appreciate that. Just want to make sure, can you hear me okay? And can you see me okay? Are we good? Yeah. You got what you need? Okay, fantastic. Everybody that's live streaming, join me. And thank you for the time. My name is Jason Sweeting. I'm a trader from Miami, Florida. By profession, I'm a keyboard player. I spent a lot of time with my knees under the keys, banging it out and singing it out for years and years while I developed my skill of trading. And now that I developed the skill of trading, I lead over 3,600 students and I serve in that way that we call ourselves the bond bullies, and shout out to the bullies and no one else, you dig? So that's pretty much what's going on with me now. Just serving, growing and serving, man.
We always ask people, what was life like growing up? So how was that for you?
Oh, it was cool, man. The Cosby's was on, Different World was on. You had Animaniacs in the afternoon when you got home from school and you ate your bowl of, Fruity Pebbles. If you could get the Kellogg's this week, or maybe it might have been one of those weeks where your mama made you get the Smacks or, a little off-brand or something like that. But it was good. I lived well. My parents were good. And my mother passed on, God bless her soul, in 2008. But I enjoyed living growing up. It wasn't particularly like the struggle or anything like that. We lived like a lower middle income type of vibe, you dig? And loved each other and got through it.
What part of the country are you in again?
Oh, I'm from Miami, Florida. Sunny
right, Miami, Florida.
You already know. One time for the Miami folks. What about you? Where you from?
I'm from Southern California.
Okay, cool. Yeah. You know the weather.
So when did you first kind of get interested in trading?
I was broke, and I wouldn't even say I was broke. It was like you was living hand to mouth. You know what I'm saying? So I had a little money in my pocket. Some of my bills were late, but I was balancing it out as a musician. So I went to Atlanta one time to go play golf with my frat brother. And I went into his house and he had on this headset and he was looking at what I called at the time squiggly lines. So I said, "Hey, what are those squiggly lines?" And he said, "Oh, I'm trading." So I was like, "Trading? I heard of that. That's a scam. I ain't no dog was on that scam, but whatever." Okay, cool. Let's not miss this tea time, So he went and brushed his teeth and we walked out. I'm like, "Hey, say, bro, like you leaving the computer on. You don't want to turn it off?" He say, "Nah, either I'm gonna make, I think it was either I'm gonna make $1,800 or $5,000 a day, but I'm done. Let's just go play." So when he said either 1,800 or 5,000, I said, "Well, what? You know how long I gotta play and sing to make $1,800? I gotta play all night, real good, for two nights in a row." So that piqued my interest. That sparked it. He wasn't the type of friend to help you that much. He wouldn't help you directly. Like he wasn't a spoon feeding friend. What he did was say, "Oh yeah, well, it's the bonds. Here's some books you should buy. Let me know what you think." And you know me, I only need like 6 inches of sunlight. I'm gonna find my way to where I'm supposed to find my way. And that began the love affair, the love and hate affair, the love affair of trading and being in the market.
So education wise, where did you go from there? Like what book specifically?
Inside. I there was one called Beating the Dial with the Bonds that I thought was really good. And then there was another one called everybody. It's Mark Douglas. Everybody reads it. Gosh, what's this Douglas book? I want to tell you. Let me see. Let me just look it up real fast. Mark Douglas, Trading in the Zone.
Oh, yeah.
Trading in the Zone. So trading in the zone and beating it down with the bonds. That's like my formal reading education. Everything after that is get after it. Wake up in the morning, get after it. Figure out what you did wrong, get after it. Get after it. Get after it. Get after it.
Where do you go to trade bonds? Because from what I see, the traditional platforms like Thinkorswim,
yes,
where I started out was like Scott Trade,
yes,
E-Trade.
Yes. You're an options trader, right?
I'm sorry?
You're an options trader, correct?
Essentially, yeah.
Okay,
I'm like a full-time options trader, but I have some success and experience trading options.
Okay.
But traditionally, I'm a stock market guy who got into options. It was just like a normal progression. But I'm curious, like I've never seen, like, maybe I didn't know what to look for, but I've never seen bonds on those platforms to trade.
Right. So the bonds, everybody who may not be familiar, like the market is the market. So if you've ever been to a supermarket, then you know the financial market. If you go to the supermarket, you have the produce and the meat, the dairy, you have the customer service and the bakery. And if you go to our financial markets, you have indices and you have equities and you have futures and you have commodities and all these different sections that you can trade. And what you can do is go to the futures section, right? So futures, and then you would go to, like, say that was produce, but say you wanted something red from the produce, you can have a red potato or a red apple. So you have to be very specific. So if you go to the futures section, then you go to the interest rate section of the futures, you'll find the interest rate futures. You've probably heard of the 10-year bonds, and you probably heard of 30-year bonds. Well, the 10 years, they're notes, actually. You have the 10s, the 5s, the 2s, the ultra bonds, and then the 30-year treasury bonds, right? So I trade a particular product called the interest rate futures. What is this? This is just the grade America gets on its ability to pay back debt.
Yeah.
People have been using bonds for a long time. So the background goes like this. The first bond was actually found the oldest was found in ancient Mesopotamia. If you're a company and you want to raise money, you go out to investors and you raise money. But how does Georgia raise money? After all, no one can own Georgia. No one can own California per se. So how do municipalities, governments, government agencies go about raising capital? Because after all, if you're Georgia, you want better schools, better roads, better staffing, better fire department, better police department, right? So what do? You start a bond program. Some of you all have heard of first-time home buyers. That's a bond program. There are so many different kind of bond programs for new entrepreneurs and business startups. So the United States of America says, hey, invest in me and I'll pay you back. That's the bonds. If you get 10-year, 30-year, 5-year, all you're talking about is the time of expiry when the promise was made. So if someone purchases a 2-year bond, in 2 years, we have got to reconcile the bond. Like, think about it like this. United States of America says what Method Man used to say, word is bond. You dig? So if they promise to give you back your principal payment to them and give it back with interest, that bond expires at a particular date. And at that time, the United States of America is on the hook to pay back its debtors, pay back the people who've invested in it. What I trade is the conversation around that trade. The United States of America needs money. People invest money into the United States of America. The United States of America has got to pay them back at a particular date. Bonds are expiring every quarter, and every quarter we have settlements, and you can trade the relationship between them. Now, I know that feels weird for people. It feels weird, but we profit from two people's agreement all the time. If the Mavericks play against the Lakers, you can bet on the Mavericks. You are not a Maverick, you are not a Laker, but there you are profiting from two people's contract with one another. You're predicting the future outcome of two people's interaction. And that's what it is. It's the futures. You predict the future outcome of the interaction between two people, even if you're not directly involved.
Yeah.
Make sense?
So what determines if that price goes up and down?
Inventory always has.
I'm sorry?
Inventory always has. The only reason a market ever moves is inventory.
Huh.
Okay.
So, yeah, help me
So I have
understand.
a very unique approach. You won't see this in any books, but I'm a big fan of Todd. I remember when he first made his millionaire $1 million and he was hanging out with Chris Johnson. I remember this whole situation. I remember buying his product. You had a $40 options course years ago. I remember buying that. You know what I'm saying? I'm a huge fan. So is it cool if I kind of give a little trading lesson? All
Absolutely.
right, cool. Trading lesson 101. Take your pencils out. It's time to learn something. You ready? You're not going to hear this on the internet anywhere. Okay. This is like stuff that I put in a class that costs a lot of money. All right. But it's yours. Now, you walk up to a store, everybody. There's one iPhone and there are thousands of people in line to buy the iPhone. Will all of those people be served? If there's one iPhone and thousands of people,
Right.
they won't be served. Everybody won't be served. When inventory is low and demand is high, then the seller moves the price up. Think about it. If you have a house, say you have a neighborhood with 100 people that want to buy a house and only 10 houses available. That means the buyers will bid the price up. So one will come to a seller and say, hey, I'll give you 300,000. Somebody else will come and say, I'll give you 310. Somebody else say, I'll come and give you 320, because at that point, the inventory is low, the demand is high. So the price of the asset goes up. Now, Jay, what are you talking about? I just told you what you were. You're an investor. You're a trader. You like to buy a dollar for a dime. You want to look at a dollar, know it's a dollar before everybody else does, buy it for a dime and watch it go up in price. That's what you want to do. Right? But if there is only one piece of inventory to be had and everybody wants to demand, then only one person can be met at that price. After that, inventory is gone.
Right.
You're a trader. If you're a buyer, who did you trade with? You traded with the seller. What did you use in order to trade? You used a contract. You bought 12 contracts, 20 contracts, 50 contracts, 100 contracts. Well, if you bought 100, you bought them from a seller. That seller's opinion was that this thing is no more good. I'll sell it right now because the price is going to fall. Your opinion was this thing is a dollar and he's going to sell it to me for a dime. I know it and he doesn't, so I'll buy them all. So what makes the market actually move? Not headlines, not reports. What moves the market is inventory. When people put money down or pick it up. When people add liquidity or withdraw it. If there are not a lot of sellers and a whole lot of buyers, price is going up. Right. If there are a whole lot of sellers and not a lot of buyers, price is going down. And I just trade that.
So how do you measure that?
Oh, well, I measure it by being able to look at proprietary things. So for example, buyers and sellers communicate the same way. They always have. The futures are a negotiation. So if you ever watched any negotiation, hey, I want to buy a car. How much is it? It's 40,000. Will I give you 30? Well, I'll come down to maybe 37.5. Well, I'll come up to maybe 32.5. Well, can we meet at 35? Sold. There was a trade. You got a car and you gave them money of equal value to be perceived, of equal value. You would be mad if you found out that car was really worth $1,000, and the seller would be mad if they found out the car was really worth $90,000 because he sold a $90,000 car for $35K, or you bought a $35,000 car that was only $1,000. We like it in our markets when the exchange of value is equal. You give me $1 worth of something and I give you $1 in return. Right? So what continues to happen in the market is the market can never find rest because everyone has got an opinion of what the value should be. What we have to do as traders and investors every day is listen to the market's opinion and then just agree with them. Buy with the buyers, sell with the seller.
Right. So when you say that, does that indicate technical analysis? Are you looking at charts, chart
That's a
patterns?
lot. To me, one of the reasons I like the bonds, because you were saying like, I say the bonds are easier than options. I imagine everything is easy once you learn how to do it. But if you're an options trader, I think you have so much more homework. If you're a stock trader, you have so much more homework. If you're a bonds trader, the game has been the same since the beginning of time. America's saying, give me money. And other people are saying, I'll give it to you or not. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the same game. So because it hasn't changed, I don't have to look up new CEOs. I don't have to look up new products. I don't have to look up whether competitors are going to be coming. I don't have to look up if it's a moat around the business. All I have to do is look at the candles. They're going to tell me if I should buy and if I should sell. So I have a homework less day. Other investors and other traders, they spend a lot of time reading 10Ks, 10Qs. They spend a lot of time learning about what CEOs' plans are. They watch a lot of presentations about new products. They try and look at if there are any people, competitive analysis. And yeah, that's a lot of homework. I think that's cool, but man, just give me the buyers and sellers on the charts and we'll take it from there.
So what's the difference between a bond trader and a bond investor?
A bond investor, I think there's no difference, except there's no difference except the time horizon in which you want your opinion to be true. The only difference that, in my opinion, that separates an investor from a trader from a swing trader is the time horizon when they expect their opinion to be true. Everybody wants to be right. Investors are waiting to be right when they're 60. I'm a trader. I want to be right in 60 seconds, 60 minutes. That's a swing trader. They want to be right in 60 days. But everybody just wants to be right. It's just a matter of the time horizon of when they wish to be correct.
So when I was in school, we were learning about bonds, and bonds have like the interest rate and they fluctuate in value as interest changes.
Yes.
So what have you seen as there's been this conversation around rates going up and the Fed raising rates and all that stuff? What have you seen lately?
Okay, so everybody, what he's talking about Fed Chair Powell and the FOMC. They're called the Federal Open Market Committee. Imagine at your house, you hire a CPA. Well, at the White House, they have a Senate, and the Senate hired a CPA. The CPA and the CPA's group is Jay Powell and the members of the Federal Open Market Committee. All right. These people advise the Senate and they advise Congress on what financial things they should do. Your CPA might come to you and say, hey, you've done too much eating out. No more eating out. You need to really, save that money and put that towards future investment for your kid. You know, your kid's 10, they'll be in high school and then college before you know it. You need to put the eating out money. That's the thing. Jay Powell might come in front of the Senate and say, if we keep interest rates where they are, the dollar's going to suffer and we're going to have a big crisis. So we need to raise interest rates. Yeah. Now that interest rates are being raised, everyone gets scared. When you see an interest rate on your mortgage statement, everybody, what you're seeing is a retail interest rate. Everybody's borrowing. So they borrow $1 from somebody and charge you $1.25 for it. So they make a quarter by being the middleman. So your bank, your mortgage company, your car loan, everybody's in the middle of interest rate. That interest rate that Powell does is the interest rate banks have to pay for one another in order to borrow from one another. That's the interest rate. And you raise it. The fear is that if money is more expensive to borrow, then businesses won't want to borrow cheap money. Because what's the use of me borrowing $2 if I can only get rid of it for $2.25 and I'm on the hook for $2.20? I don't want a nickel in differences, so I won't borrow as much if I'm that person. If I'm a bank, I won't borrow money so that I can sell it to other people. I won't do that. So the scary thing is that if interest rates rise, then business moves come to a halt. Everybody stops borrowing money. The only thing that's necessary, what Jay Powell is going through now, everybody, is he's trying to not make everybody yell fire, even though we all see smoke. We all see the problem coming. He's trying to raise the interest rate ever so slowly so that no one gets totally afraid and runs away from the game. He doesn't want a big, huge pullback on the S&P, a big, huge pullback on the Russell or the NASDAQ or the Dow. He doesn't want businesses to experience divestiture. We don't want lots of people running into Apple, taking all their money out. That's not healthy for the economy. So what he's doing, he's not saying we're going to move all the rates right now. He's saying we're going to move them so slow that you won't even feel it. And his hope is that it doesn't work, that it works. I think that consumers are seeing, their tax, whether they like it or not. They're seeing it at the pump. They're seeing it at the grocery store. Yeah. Consumers are seeing their tax as the cost of living rises. I know rental rates have been very reactionary to the interest rate bump. There's a new housing market that's been exposed, where there's a new normal for where price is going to rest. In a lot of coastal cities, I think the Midwest is starting to experience it as well. And some of the major hubs, Chicago, Dallas, these people are starting to experience that. So the interest rate is a very important thing to know. In my opinion, the reason why I started trading bonds too, Todd, was this, bro. Check it out. So we all love these companies, Apple, Tesla, Google. What company do they sit on?
Yeah.
They sit on the United States of America, LLC. And you talking about got a defense or a moat, built the moat, great defense. You know what I'm saying? What a company they have built. You know what I'm saying? They started the company with free labor. You know what I'm saying? They were able to split all of the, get all of the splits and schisms within the board. They settled all of those through the Civil War. You know what I'm saying? They had to rehouse and reshape and redraw lines. But man, they've built this fantastic thing. And everything sits on top of it. United States have a hard day. Trust me, Apple's going to have one too. You know, so I start paying attention to the bonds because it controls so much of what happened in the market financially. Let's not forget the market is one machine. If you push one thing in, another thing comes out, another thing twists, another thing runs up, another thing moves down, another thing says, ow. You know what I'm saying? So because it's that kind of machine, he messes with the interest rate and people in real estate feel it. You know, so we're all trying to keep this thing calm. He's trying to, in my opinion, Todd, he's trying to keep the house calm and not scream fire, but everybody can see the smoke. So we want to see how slowly he can raise these rates and keep the consumer safe. So
for the basic person, how would they get started bond trading?
Oh man, holla at Jay the Trader. He's the best. I think the beauty about how I teach is that the bonds are the schoolmaster, Todd. To me, like, you learn how to add and subtract somewhere. And then you took that talent and you applied it to calculus. You applied it to differential equations. You applied it to geometry and any other statistics, any other mathematical vein or field that you can go in. But what you learned first was how to add and how to subtract, right? The bonds, I call it the schoolmaster. No one goes to this game, but if you learn this game, you can play all the rest. The reason I say that is because the bonds move methodically, they move predictably, and they show you how buyers and sellers really communicate with one another when it comes down to the understanding of the value of an asset. Yeah. If you're trading Tesla, then you're trading it with somebody else. If sellers say something, you as a buyer, you have to be able to respond and know where to respond. It's a bad negotiation when you say, I'll buy it for 40. I'll sell it for 40. The other guy says, I'll buy it for 30. You say, I'll come down to 37.5. And that guy's response is, well, I'm not moving. That's not a good negotiation because we have to find a perfect price to exchange value, to trade, to invest. Google has got to present a price that'll make me buy it. The sellers have got to give me something that I will buy. Well, in my opinion, the best place to learn that is with the bonds. You can't find a better place in the market. Not only that, everybody else, a penny a move, $12.50 on the ES, $10 on the NASDAQ, a tick in the bonds, $31.25. There's no higher paying instrument per tick value. Basically, what I'm telling you is that most people, if you make $50,000 a day, you make $50,000 a year, you make $200 a day. What I'm telling you is you catch 6 ticks on the bonds and you made it.
Yeah.
The bond moves 1.5 points a day. So that's roughly 48 ticks. 48 ticks a day, you got to catch 6 to stay home. Never have to go outside again. Yeah. Simple game. To me, that was it for me. That was it. And once I figured out that it was a schoolmaster and what I teach, like I have a student, her name is Kali. Kali learned how to trade the bonds from me because she learned how markets move. She took that knowledge to the options, made $22,000 in 3 weeks. I have a kid named Chandler. Chandler learned how to trade with me, right? But his background was investing. Like he was a long-term investor. From the time he was 13 to the time he was 15, he was an investor. He found me on the internet, learned how to trade when he was 16. This was April 2020. By August 2020, he took a $3,000 account and turned it into an $80,000 account by August. Because you come learn how to add and subtract, multiply and divide, and then you just go play the games that other people play. If you want to play calculus, go play it. If you want to play algebra, go play it. If you want to play geometry, go play it. But you know how to add and subtract. They might add functions here and exponents there, but they ain't but 4 things to do. And it's the same thing in the bonds, folks. Like, you come and learn how this goes, then you'll know how to negotiate with everybody else. Learn how these buyers and sellers talk. You'll learn from everybody else.
Yeah. How much money does it take for somebody to get started?
We trade with OPM. So you don't need money, you need skill. Let me tell you, how much money do you have to go to the NFL? No one ever asked that.
Right.
Because your skill gets you to the NFL. And then people throw money at your skill. If your skill is good, you keep making money. If your skills go bad, they stop giving you money. Simple. So if you want to be a trader, I know some people, they have lazy money. The money's in the bank. They're not doing anything with it. So what they do is they find talented people like me and the rest of my students, and they give us money, $50,000, $25,000, $75,000, $150,000, $250,000 to trade with, because we're going to do better with it than JP Morgan or Chase or Morgan Stanley or Wells Fargo or Bank of America. We're going to do better than that. They're going to give you like 0.001% in a year. We're going to give you what? At least 3% a day. Seems pretty easy to me. You take a $50,000 account and put it with a bond bully, and it's going to be $54,000 at the end of the day. That's it. It's simple.
So you said the skill set can be applied to other areas, but you still stay kind of true to bonds. Why is that?
I think dating only gets you so far, but marriage will take you everywhere you want to go. I think that to go wide is cool, but to go deep is better. So why do I have to read 25 reports to make $5,000 a day if I don't have to read any and just read the candles, and I can still make $5,000 a day? I'll take the no homework so to answer your question in brief, is just, I found it much easier to master the bonds. And, I trade the ES, I trade the NASDAQ, I trade the Russell, I trade the Dow, you know what I'm saying? But I'm basically here for anywhere between $1,000 and $5,000 a day, and they can have the rest. You know what I'm saying? I basically do it in 30, 40 minutes. And after that, I can go be a dad. I can go do the things I want to do. I can hang out with my pops. I can hang out with my family. I can take my kids. I can go to my kids' school and teach their classmates about inventory and how to trade. That's what I want to do. Okay. A lot of my life, Todd, was spent with my knees under the keyboard. And for a musician, we go to work when everybody else plays. So the weekend, that's when we work. We want to work Thursday night, Friday night, all Saturday, all Sunday. We're going to be singing about Anita Baker and Drake on Saturday night. And then we're going to be playing The Holy Goes Down on Sunday morning. You know how it goes, right? We're going to do that. Okay, cool. Well, if I did that for 15 years, how many of my kids' birthdays did I miss? Yeah. How many of my wife's days off did I miss? But when she had a job, when she was working, I missed so much. So to me, what I call rich and wealthy, like good enough for me, I make a couple $1,000s a day, and then I go hang out with my kids. Yeah. Every so often, maybe buy a property or two and then walk off.
Do you think that your skills as a keyboard player helped you as a trader?
Yeah, but only in the way, like, if you want to make really good music that only you want to make, you can go by yourself. But if you really want a good song, you have to work with everybody else to make a good song. Your bass player, your guitar player, your drummer, everybody's got to be right together, And I think what music taught me to do is to listen, not make sound, but listen to what they're saying. Listen to what the drummer's saying. What is everybody else saying? What is the guitar player saying? What is the soloist saying? What is the crowd saying? Listen, taking the information and then play the perfect thing that accompanies that. Maybe it might be a single note. Maybe it might be something in the lower register or above. Maybe I should be Dorian when everybody else is Phrygian. Maybe I should be Aeolian, or maybe whatever, But in the market, I think that it applies, because my first thing that I do is I listen to the market. Mm-hmm. I just listen. What are you guys saying? You guys saying that you want to keep going down, or are you saying you want to keep going up? And I'm going to listen to you. Once you convince me that you have a direction you want to go, then by all means.
Yeah.
Showtime.
Yeah. That's dope. When did you start seeing success?
You're dope, bro. I just want to say that just for a minute. I think you're dope, bro. Like, I watched you grind. I watched you grind. You know what I'm saying? I kind of consider where you are, like, you guys were in front of me. You guys who started educating people in 2012, 2014. When did you start?
Man, I don't even
15?
know. It might have been around like 2016.
Right. You guys were ahead of me. Like, I really didn't start educating people until late 18, early 19. And I look, you guys, you and so many others, man, I really appreciate what you guys have done. It takes a lot to deal with people for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, let alone while you're dealing with them, mastering a skill, becoming better, building a business. So, man, I salute what you have done. I think that you're dope, bro. Straight up.
Appreciate that. So, yeah, back to the story.
Okay.
And I kind of want to work through this before we wrap.
Okay.
When did you start seeing success? So you met with your frat brother. He gave you the information.
Right.
Then you started studying. What did the early days of your trades look like?
Losing a lot, every day.
What kept you going?
Going to bed scared that you were going to lose again tomorrow, then waking up and losing the next day. Blown combines, blown brokerage accounts, been in sim so long, scared to go live. It was a lot of figuring it out. When I finally put my foot in the dirt hardcore and said, I'm going to do this, everything else, and I was really good at music. I'm okay still now. I still get a crowd going. There's no problem. But, like, everybody was like, bro, just move to Atlanta, move to California. You know what I'm saying? Like, you already been out there. You got homies at Tree Sound. You got homies at Salt Mine Oasis. You got homies everywhere. You could call up this homie. You know what I'm saying? Just go play. You'll be playing on the Tonight Show. You just go to LA, stand in line. You'll be all right. Everybody's out there. They know you. But I just looked and saw what I wanted out of my life, man. And I decided, bro, I'm putting my foot in the dirt. So 17, late 16, early 17, it was 3 sessions a day, no matter what. 7 days a week, 3 sessions a day, no matter what. Let's practice. We're going to lose. We're going to win. We're going to practice. We're going to work. We're going to figure it out. We're going to write down things that work. We're going to write down what doesn't. We're going to write down how you feel about money. We're going to write down how you feel emotionally. We're going to talk about psychology. We're going to try and control ourselves. We're trying to master ourselves. And then something magical happened about 1.5 years into the process. I started not being scared every night. I started making a little money. Then a little money turned into more, and more turned into more. Now, I don't have losing days in the market. I don't. I just don't. I just don't do that. And nobody in my room does. Because we've been doing it too long to do it wrong. You feel me, Todd? Like, we've been doing it too long to do it wrong. We've got to do a good job. So I just put my foot in the dirt late 2016, early 2017, and said I wasn't going to give up. Something's got to change. Something's got, like my friend T.O., God bless his soul. Something's got to give, and it ain't going to be me. So bring on the pain. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm very malignant in that way. I've given up on things before. I don't like how giving up feels anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm just not going to do it. We're going to win. So that's what I made up my mind. I lost my apartment down here. I was renting out like a townhome, took my family up to my in-laws, dropped them off. And 1 year I was studying and gigging. So I was working in Miami or wherever else I could, living in Central Florida. And in 1 year, I put 100,000 miles on my car. I slept in my car when I was in Miami. Slept in front of this hotel because you could catch some Wi-Fi out of the front door. And then I would go inside in the morning for the free breakfast. Shout out to the Howard Johnson. If ever y'all need me for anything, I'm right here for you. You know what I'm saying? I love the Howard Johnson because every morning, them folks knew I didn't stay in that hotel, but they let me come in there and I ate my little apple and my bowl of cereal. You know how they give you a little continental breakfast in the lobby at those hotels? That was my breakfast. And I used that lobby bathroom as my bathroom, babe, the big stall that has a sink.
Yeah.
You got those little stalls and then you got the one big stall that has a sink. So I would go into the big stall and, take a bath out of the sink and freshen up, you know what I'm saying? And eat my little breakfast and go about my day, and I did that for a year and things got more and more consistent, more and more consistent, more and more consistent. Then I bought a house. more and more consistent, more and more consistent. Then I bought a car, more and more consistent, more and more consistent. My credit got better, more and more consistent, more and more consistent. Then, things kind of turned out. My wife don't have to work like she used to. And, the kids are comfortable like they used to. And thank God, I'm all right.
That's cool. That's cool.
What
was your most successful trade?
It's so many of them. I can remember a lot of them. So a lot of people think that, for me, the best trade I ever made was realizing the value that I have and trading my goals for the goals of other people. That's the best trade I ever made. Like, I traded in what I wanted for service. Like, I don't want that. I want to serve. Best trade I ever made in my life.
For service.
Yes. So imagine, like, you've had days like we make $80,000 in a day, $80,000 in a day, 30,000, 40,000. You may have these days, right? Mm. They feel really, really good. Like, don't get me wrong. It's crazy. You look at it and you're going, oh my God, I just made 80 grand. I made 100 grand, or I made 60 grand, or today was a $40,000 day. These are cool days. But after you ride on a private plane, that's all it is a ride. After you eat the best steak in the world, like, it was just a meal. And even if you play the best golf in the world, and I think I've played some pretty good golf, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, whatever it is, whatever your thing is, maybe you buy cars or buy whatever, but after a little while, it's so fleeting, like, I like playing golf, bro. So I played Pebble Beach last year, April, stayed on the 18th green in the suite on the top floor. Me and my lady, I took my father out, man, we just had a ball. Drove up and down the 17-mile joint, went to the lunch spot that's up in the mountains with the big view. It was crazy. Bro, but as you all know, like, the best meal was the one your grandma made. After you go spend all that money, it's still the best meal your grandma made it. So I found that one feeling that never gets old is serving somebody and them getting it. That feeling never gets old, bro. Like, if I teach somebody a trade and then they say, hey, yo, Jay, I just passed the combine. That's it. It gets no better. And it just doesn't get old. It doesn't get old. I can expect it now, but it doesn't get old. I love that.
What's a combine?
A combine is where it's like a test. Like, you take the LSAT to see if you can go to law school. You take the MCAT to see if you can go to med school. You take a combine to see if you can get funded as a trader.
That's dope. Yep. So again, where do you go to start all this?
www.tradelikej.com. Straight up.
What kind of platforms do you offer, man? What kind of programs?
Well, I teach people, right? So you have coursework, regular curriculum. Then I have like a full suite of courses. So if you purchase the BAM course, so BAM, BAMM, stands for Become a Money Machine. Right? So everybody wants to become a money machine. But the question is, what would you do if you became a money machine? What would you do? Would you kill the debt? Would you take your spouse off work? Would you help your kids out? Would you make sure your mama was straight? Would you vacation more? All right, start thinking that. And if you're watching this live, start typing it in the chat. Start typing in the chat. What would you do if you could become a money machine? Right? So I teach them that coursework. That's over 18 hours of instruction. Aside from that, with the purchase of that course, you get what we call the 21-day success guide. So if you give me 21 days of your life, I'll change it forever. I promise you I will. Do what I'm telling you to do for 21 days. Watch the videos I'm telling you to do. Post what I'm telling you to post. Just do it. I know it sounds stupid. It might feel stupid, whatever. Just do it. It's new. You've never done it before. So do it. Boom. 21-day success guide. Also in there is how to make a real trade plan. Everybody talks about having trade plans, but I haven't really seen a good one. So I decided I teach it to my students, and now I'm teaching it to anybody who buys a course. A trade plan, a real one, has got 4 parts. There's a technical understanding, a fundamental understanding. There's an emotional understanding. And I mean, you really don't want to miss this. The last one is financial. You got financial, emotional, fundamental, and technical. If you don't know what's going on in all 4 of these every day, you stuck. You can know the news, fundamental. You can know the candles, technical. You can know how much money you got or how much you want to make. and your loss limits. But if your emotions are in the wrong place, you still got a blown up day. So I walk you through how to set up, what questions you should ask yourself for those sort of things. So that's 3 courses for one. Then people who purchase the course right now, they get a 50% off on their first one-on-one with me. One-on-one with me is $2,000. 60 minutes, I think it's a steal. After you hang out with me for an hour, trust me, you'll make a lot of money every day. But I think it's a steal. But even I wanted to give 50% off of that. So 50% off of that. And then you get a 30-day money back guarantee. I didn't see anybody I looked all around, all the traders, all the investing coach, nobody was giving a money back guarantee. If you guarantee me the work, I guarantee you the results. So 30-day money back guarantee. You get in here and you don't like what you see, you can keep the money. That's just the boldness that I have on what it is that we've created. Yeah. People have taken what I've learned and quit their jobs. They've taken what I've taught them and what I've mastered and what I've been able to put in bite-sized chunks. What took me a year and a half to do, people are doing in 2 months. Yeah. I've researched it. I've researched my students. In 21 days, they know what's going on. And between day 45 and 60, they're taking their first unsupervised profitable trade. And that's if they put in about an hour to 2 hours of work per day for the first 21 days. So about an hour and a half. Work for an hour and a half a day for 21 days.
What's the website? I got a bunch of people in the chat watching live. What's the website to go to that? You said jaythetrader.com.
No, it's www.tradelikej.com. Tradelikej.com.
There we go.
Tradelikej.com. Man, God, I really appreciate you giving me this opportunity, man. It means so much to me. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate you for coming on. A lot of information was dropped. A lot of information was shared. I learned a lot, and I've gained a new interest that I'm gonna have to take my talents to the bond market and see what that looks like. So I'll be going to tradelikej.com and getting signed up, and hopefully getting to that point where I can start doing some really cool things with bonds, because it just seems like it's more straightforward than the stock market in a certain sense.
It's very much so. And then, life-changing money is not $40,000 a day. Life-changing money for most people, like the average American household makes $41,000. We're talking about 2 grown people in a house, average 41. Yeah. So if you're doing better than that right now, you're already above average. So basically, the average American has a living wage of about $200 a day, maybe $175 a day. And they're feeding families with it and sending kids on vacations, and they're doing that. So life-changing money, imagine if you could make a day's worth of money in a couple hours. What then could you do with the rest of your day? How much better of a husband could you be, or wife, or son, or daughter? How much better of a spouse could you be? How much better of a brother or sister can you be? How much better can you be for your community, for your temple, or for your church or synagogue or mosque? What I'm into is living. We only want the money so we can live. No one makes money, puts it in a pile, and stays with it. Like, look at all this money I made. No, we use the money to live well. Yeah. And we don't want any other decisions becoming financial ones, educational decisions. Oh, mom, I got into Harvard. Well, you can't go. We don't have the money. That's an educational decision that turned into a financial one. I hate that. You have all sorts of health decisions. I need this medicine. Well, that medicine is $1,500 a month. Well, I can't get it. That means a health decision became a financial one. I hate that. So I think becoming a money machine is about being able to serve the people around you. Serve the people around you. I always tell students, I told you I was going to turn you into an ATM, and people are like, oh man, you turned me into an ATM? Yeah. Then I ask them, when the last time you seen an ATM get money? ATMs don't get it, they give it. I want to turn you into a beautiful fountain of water that you can always have something fresh to give someone who's a passerby. The church, the little kids in the school, they need $100 in order to go on a field trip. Why should the kids not be able to go on a field trip? You make $300, $400 a day. Go on and give them a little $100. It ain't gonna hurt them. Be able to serve somebody. Excuse me for a second, Todd. Give me 1 second. I only have one kid who would knock on the door at this time. Come say hello. And then you have to give me 5 minutes. Say hi to Mr.
Todd. Nice to meet you.
He's a really, really dope teacher. What he does is what Daddy does, help people get to the money. So he knows how to trade.
Okay. He learned time that real money.
Yeah, he got real money all the time. All the time. Give me 5 minutes and I'll be ready, okay? Close the door on the way out. Say bye. Bye.
Bye.
All right.
Cool. So any last words you want to leave with the people before you head out?
Do this. My last word is always going to be that you can do it. If I did it, I'm a little smart, but I ain't that smart. Come on. I look all right, but it's not like my good looks got me there. I'm a little talented, sort of well-spoken. That's because my mama used to make me explain stuff to her and do public speaking in front of just her for such a long time. But I have no special gifts. I took the stairs and made it to a pretty good floor. And let me tell you what happens when you finish taking the stairs. When you get to this floor, there's an elevator up here. So hurry up and take the stairs to this floor so you can really start going fast. You think that you made some money.
That's a bore.
I'm telling you, it's way more money out here to be made. Way more money. And you can do it. You can do it. I know that your eyes are getting tired. I know that your hands are beginning to shake. I know that your knees are buckling. And I know that your back is bent. But you can do this. Take a deep breath. Breathe in. Find somebody who is doing what you want to do and never let them go. One of the greatest stories of perseverance I've ever read was in this book called The Bible. This guy named Jacob saw an angel and he decided that something's going to give, but it ain't going to be me. Now, I don't know how many of y'all have wrestled recently, but wrestling, that's some tough work. Imagine wrestling an angel and then doing it all day. He can't get loose because you won't let him. And you're going to wrestle him all day. What are you wrestling for? I'm wrestling for what you got. And you're going to get, hey, so if you got to wrestle these charts all day long, hey, you might walk away with a limp. That's what Jacob did, but he got what he came for. He came for a name change. We didn't know him as Jacob anymore. We don't call it the children of Jacob. We call them the children of Israel because his name got changed. And I'm telling you, you might have to suffer a limp. It might hurt, but I'm telling you, what you're looking for is on the other side of the obstacle, on the other side of the fear, on the other side, and you can make it. Don't you quit. Don't you dare quit. Your grandma ain't tell your mama to go so far to have you so that you can quit. Because if you quit, you're going to quit on grandma. You're going to quit on mother. And don't quit on mother. Lord knows all the dressing and collard greens and good stuff she made for you, and you're going to quit when this is your chance. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. You can do this. If I did it, Lord knows you can.
It's interesting because you're from Florida, but you have a southern way about you. But I guess they say that when you go south,
it don't get no more south than us, baby.
Oh.
You know, it's a mixed bag. I love the eclectic and the nature of my city. You're gonna really find a lot of vibes. But you know, the onion ain't gonna become the tomato. They just gonna stew together. You see what I'm saying? So I still go back to my side where we do things how we do things. You know what I'm saying? It's the reason they call it Little Havana, because if you go there, it's gonna feel like Havana. But if you leave, it won't. You know, so the melting pot is there together, but the ingredients still have their integrity. And I was raised by two folks from Georgia. I can't.
Oh, okay. Man, great episode. Great episode. We've got a lot of people watching live. We got a lot of people dropping comments. Somebody said they're a bomb bully. Her name is Yanni Baby. So shout out to her.
Yeah, all the bullies stand up. Y'all muscle up in the chat real fast. I didn't tell them that we were going to be on because I didn't want them to get too cantankerous in the chat, but I have a very boisterous group of people, and if they get into a chat, man, they might take it over and beat it up. So I didn't tell them I was going to be here today.
Cool. Well, this wraps up another episode of the Millionaire Talk Show. Make sure you guys check out his information. I'll have it in the link in the show notes. Also, make sure you check out our courses and our content, which will also be in the show notes. And this episode's live on YouTube, but will be live on all streaming platforms. Hopefully very soon, if Donald the Voice hooks me up like he should. So with that, I bid you guys adieu. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we're out.
Thank you.